So today, the Pope, El Papa, Pope Ratzinger, aka Pope Benedict XVI, former member of Nazi Hitler's youth. Oh, Jose, that was a long time ago. Let it go, let it go. All right, we let it go. It was a horrible time in the life of Pope Ratzinger. The Pope has decided to retire, or shall we say resign, from the post of Bishop of Rome, aka the Pope, aka the head of the Holy See, head of state of the Vatican, and so many other titles, and also King of Rome. People don't know that the Roman Empire is still alive to this day in the form of the Catholic Church. People don't know that the Pope is one of the few remaining direct totalitarian monarchs in the world, and the most powerful one at that too. And you have the Saudis, and you have Yemen, and you have that king in Morocco. Most of them are Arabs, Muslim dictatorships. But here we have one in the face, in front of our faces, pretending to be Christian, and yet at the same time, he is a king. He is a monarch. I mean, that's what it is. And of course, we have a lot of gay people talking about this issue, saying, well, what does this mean? Well, let me tell you in the most simplest way I can. It means one anti gay pope leaves and another one comes in. And there are people that are saying that the cardinal or a cardinal from Ghana, Africa, wants to be the next pope. He's the top contender. So you know what that means, right? You're probably going to have one of the most reactionary popes in the history of the Catholic Church. I mean, talk about reactionary. Africa has a lot of reactionary right wing countries, and that's the culture in Africa. That's why you have all these conflicts, dictatorships, and also the exploitation of that by the Anglo American enterprise. But that's one thing. And so, gay people reflect on Pope Ratzinger's anti gay past, his rhetoric. How about let's focus on the fact that, well, people say, Jose, don't focus on his youth. Don't focus on him saluting Hitler. That's all erased. That's not really important right now. Alright, fine. I guess we can forgive people. But what's not forgivable is what you do when you are an adult. And when you knew full well that when children get abused, it is your responsibility as the head of the said organization where the abuse is happening to ensure that those criminals go to court, go to jail, and face the consequences for what they've done. But if you were a private organization or a company, CEO of, let's say, of a nursery chain or something of that sort, you look after some of these kids, turns out some of the, or a lot of the people that work for you are molesting them. What do? Well, you get rid of them. You get rid of them. In fact, within the gay community, we had a lot of problems with these chicken hawks and pederasts, and not only that, but I mean, that's one thing, that's one problem. There you can see exploitation and abuse of gay teens, but you also have pedophiles who wanted to infiltrate the gay community, try to say that their thing, which is abuse of children, is acceptable, and that there should be no age limit. I mean, that's what they say. And they try to hijack our movement, and thank goodness for the hard work of many lesbian activists and a lot of gay men as well. We stood up to these guys and said, get the fuck out of our movement. And we have to jettison them the late 80s when they were going out there to gay prides and trying to march in parades and all that stuff. So, we gay people are trying to, protect our image. I mean, that's pretty simple right there. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And a lot of people in the reactionary right wing, they want to, say, well, gay people are pedophiles. And, all right, I mean, you can say whatever you want with that. Freedom of speech. I can call you a pedophile. Oh, but don't dare call the priest of the Holy Church a pedophile because he actually inserted his penis in a little boy's anus. Don't call us pedophiles. We can call you pedophiles even though you never molested a child, even though all of you gay men are attracted to men, not boys. A prepubescent boy, ladies and gentlemen, just for your own knowledge, a prepubescent boy cannot ejaculate. A prepubescent boy doesn't have the capability to have, well, at least for me, to be able to perform in a satisfactory way sexually with me or any adult. And we gay men are attracted to men who can, well, ejaculate and have the physical and emotional and the urges to actually do what we do in bed. Not with boys, not with little kids who have no idea what's going on. But the reason why these priests are molesting all these kids is not because it's a sexual orientation. That's bullshit. It's because they want power. They're in positions of authority. Oh my God, it's a priest. How can a priest molest a kid? When people were first talking about this in the 70s and the 60s, I mean, nobody believed these kids when they were saying, hey, the priest came to my room and stuck his dick out and masturbated and dropped a load on my mouth. People, the people will be like, you're crazy. And in fact, the other day, I watched this documentary on HBO, God, about this whole pedophile ring. I mean, I'm going to say the truth. The Vatican is nothing but a pedophile ring, and the Pope has to be a pedophile enabler, a pedophile protectorate, or at least, in my own opinion, a pedophile himself. Yes, I said it. I'm not saying that he is one, but I'm saying, it's not far off. It's not, But he did hide pedophiles. He was the head of this, well, back in the heyday, it was called the Inquisition. But he was the head of this congregation of the Vatican that was in charge of collecting all the information of every priest that fucked a boy. That raped a boy, let me say that. And they did nothing about it. They just moved these pedophile priests from one continent to another. And the documentary talked about all of this crap and how they were molesting these deaf boys. These boys that were, that were deaf. So because they were deaf, they were an easier target because they can't speak and tell other people, and their parents who did, some of the parents didn't know how to do sign language, so they couldn't communicate to the parents that they were being molested. Isn't that a dandy? The Catholic Church says, oh, well, que será, será. And this Pope hid all these pedophiles and moved them to different continents. That's why you had white people, or white bishops and monsignors and priests in Latin American countries, and that's why you had Hispanic priests in America and Canada, because they were moving them around. And they were actually hiding pedophiles. Lawsuits were brought out. This Pope is being sued in court. And when they try to serve the good old Pope with a summons to appear at a U.S. court, he rejected the summons, which was sent by FedEx. I would have just knocked on the door and thrown it in his face. But they kindly rejected the awful anti-Catholic summons. How dare they sue the Pope who hid all these pedophiles and rapists? How dare he? How dare they? How dare they tell us that we are protecting pedophiles when we are? The Catholic Church comes out and says that gay people are Nazis. What are we again? Nazis, communists, Stalinists, you name it, buddy. Everything. Vegetarians, carnivores. We're everything to them. We're a virus. We're a cancer. I mean, every name in the book. And you can tell me, Jose, it's not the Catholic Church. Yes, it is, by proxy. The American Family Association is, what are they? They're run by the Knights of Malta. It's a cult fraternity of the Catholic Church. The guy who was spreading that stupid movie around, a documentary that was full of bullshit, called Indoctrination, a Scottish guy. And in that documentary, he falsely said that gay people are going to the schools and indoctrinating kids into becoming homosexual. That's what he said. Providing no proof, no evidence, no hidden cameras of that happening. But he said that, this is, he pointed to, I don't know what it was, like I think it was a health class in which they talked about homosexuality. Well, it's reality. It's what's happening in the world today. But does that mean that you now want to be a homosexual because you talked about it in class? So if you talk about Hitler in history class, now you want to be a Nazi? I mean, what the hell are you talking about? But the Catholic Church is behind all of that. The guy who made that documentary, well, turns out he's a Jesuit priest. And he's also a member of the Knights of Malta. can go on and on and on for hours about the Vatican and its secret, not so very secret societies. I mean, they admit who they are, right? Knights of Columbus, Knights of Malta, Jesuit priests. You have all these, and you know, Jesuit orders who are basically spies for the Vatican. And one of them was Pat Buchanan, who is very anti-gay, very homophobic, very reactionary. He goes on the Alex Jones show, and Alex Jones has a lot of connections to that organization and with the John Birch Society, which is, of course, the Mormon wing of the reactionary religious right movement. But the American Family Association and all these anti-gay freaks, the National Organization for Marriage, is basically run by Catholics and members of the Knights of Columbus. Wall Street hedge fund hyenas who are members of that cult are also funding that organization. You have Mormons funding it, of course, and that's another Masonic cult that's also influenced by the Catholic Church. I mean, you have to really do your homework when you want to see the tangled web of what I see and what's there. And so the Catholic Church has always, through proxies, through the FAA, the American Family Association, the Family Research Council, headed by a guy who is a member of course, of a Jesuit order. And also he is, well, a CIA op. And the CIA is obviously was founded by a Jesuit priest. If you go back to your history and you read about people who made all these changes to our American way of life, you'll see that the Vatican is always there. The Vatican, the City of London, and Washington, the three most important places in the world. You have the Vatican controls the soul, London controls the banks and the banking and the money, and then you have Washington D.C. that is the center of the military, of the world military, because that's what we are. Our military is not the American military anymore, it's the world's military, because we are the biggest, most funded military in the world. But, the Pope, he's the King of Kings. And there might be other kings out there in Europe that want to compete for stature. But most of these kings, except for the Queen of England, they all pray and visit and kiss the ass cheeks of the Pope. You had big king mobsters and godfathers of these Italian mobs that go and kiss the ring of the Pope, and they have these wine and bread rituals and all this shit that, a lot of these mobsters come out, or former mobsters who turn informants for the FBI, they come out and they talk about how, well, we used to launder money through the Vatican. The Vatican has a bank. Most of the money in there was taken away from the Jews, and most of it is also mob money that comes in from all around the world. Italy and Sicily, of course, you have. I mean, who controls all those areas in Italy? Is the Italian mob? And just the other day, you had a gay governor in Italy who said that he was scared to death to walk at night in Rome. It wasn't just because they were homophobes in Rome, which they are. There are a lot of. Italy is a homophobic country. But not only that, you had the mob that basically controls all the organized crime in Rome and Sicily and Naples and Florence. That's what Italy does. That's why it's a really fucked up country. And I don't want to say this because I'm mean, but because the Pope has a huge grasp. The Pope blesses these people. And they go to the Pope. These mobsters go to the Pope and they kiss his ring. There's nothing holy in the Vatican. Let me just say that. Nothing holy. And if you're Catholic and if you're offended with what I said, I don't know. Because gay people get offended all the time. And most of the time I just take it. I just say, fine, whatever. The Catholic Church, through their proxies, NOM, FA, and even cardinals and bishops, they come out and say, you gay people are Nazis. You gay people are perverted. You gay people are pedophiles, not because the Boy Scouts trying to, how dare the Boy Scouts let gay boys in? How dare they? How dare they let a lesbian become a den mother? How dare they? Oh, but we, the Catholic Church, because we also control the Boy Scouts of America, some of the members of the board of directors are also members of Jesuit orders and Knights of Malta. Oh, but they want to appear to be pro-gay, but at the same time not. So they pushed this decision to lift the ban of gay Boy Scouts. They kicked they kicked the can down the road, and they let others decide. And of course, the reactionaries and these red state right wingers, they're not going to go for this. I have a hunch that might happen. They're going to vote no. So the Vatican comes out, the Pope comes out through these proxies and say, hey, if you let gay men become scoutmasters, you're going to have all these gay men molesting all these kids. And there are many reasons why they say this. One is to keep the attention on gay people. Because if a gay guy, let's say Glesson, let's say one of those youth groups, like a gay youth group, let's say if a gay youth group were hiding pedophiles within that organization and they were molesting and raping gay boys or gay teens, 14, 15-year-olds, if they were doing that, oh my, you would see the world shattered to pieces. These people will come out foaming at the mouth. Brian Fisher, Linda Harvey, all these Vatican operatives and Vatican spies, because that's what they are. They come out and they are going to foam at the mouth and just rip the gay community apart. If that were to happen. Oh, but if we say, wait a minute, the gay people are not the ones who are molesting kids and hiding them. Yes, there were some few gay guys here and there that molest. Look, in every sector of a society, you're going to have pedophiles and child molesters. If we had a few priests and maybe one bishop molesting, okay. The Lutherans also had a couple of pedophiles. They got rid of them. They went to jail. But in the Catholic Church, this Pope Ratzinger, he decided to hide and protect these pedophiles. He was a pedophile enabler and probably even liked it himself. He probably had a couple of boys, stay with him in his apartment. Did you know that the Vatican, up to 2 years ago, the age of consent was 12 years old for sexual activity? I thought that priests and cardinals and all these people, because who else goes into the Vatican and stays there but priests and people who are Catholic? And this age limit applies to homosexuals and heterosexuals. Why does the Vatican, which is full of virgins, why do they need an age of consent? Why do they need to say, well, at 12 years old, you can have sex at the Vatican? So they changed it, right? They went up to 16. Did you know that? It's a pedophile ring. And pedophilia goes all the way back to these ancient religious sects that used to worship the penis, and they had sexual orgies and rituals with children. I mean, that's what it is. And those sects basically grew into religions, and that's what we had today. Except it's a little bit more subtle now. They're not actually raping boys in front of everybody, although the Pope can legally do that inside the Vatican. He can legally, the Pope, he can legally molest a kid in the United States and get away with it. He has diplomatic immunity. And so are the other freaks of the Vatican. They have this immunity to molest. And that immunity was strengthened by an executive order signed by George W. Bush. And so the priests have the same kind of sickness. They say, well, I am a priest. I'm a man of God. I am as the Pope. And I'm here to do what I want to do. I'm God. I'm going to molest you. I'm going to rape you. I'm going to take away your innocence. And that's one of the most gravest sins, is to assume that you are God and you know everything, that you're know-it-all, that you're the big shit. When in actuality, you're just shit. The Bible talks about this. That was the downfall of Adam and Eve. The snake, which people think it's Satan, but it's not. But the snake comes out and says to Adam and tells Eve, hey, if you eat the apple, you're going to be just like God. And that's what these people think. That's what this Vatican and this Pope think, that they are God, that they can do whatever the hell they want. And they can get away with it. And they are not subject to the laws, to the rules. They are the law. They are the rules. And so that's why they became a state. They made a pact with Mussolini, a dictator. Fascism. Europe is it's the epitome of fascism, murder, war, you name it. It's always been Europe. Europe was the center of all modern wars and the cause of many of these economic problems. And Europe is the center of Catholicism, Christianity, and religion has always been a cause for war in many of these wars. Even the ones that were caused by, even when the leaders of certain countries were atheists. That's what they claim. But I think when you become a Stalin or a Mao and you think you're God, that you're just like the Pope, but you have a different religion. It's the same thing. It's the notion that you think you are infallible and that you are the chosen one that makes people do crazy things. That's what it is. It's a sickness. And they attacking the gay community all the time, relentlessly saying that gay people are going to destroy peace, when in fact the Catholic Church was behind the Bosnia War. Then what do we have now? Oh, yes, the Boy Scouts. You people are pedophiles. Oh, but we have pedophile priests and bishops and cardinals and monsignors and all these people within the Catholic Church. You have pedophiles recruiting other pedophiles into the church so they can keep this pedophile, child raping ring working, and it's working to this day. If you think that the Catholic Church has now dealt with this problem, you are naive and you're mistaken. The Catholic Church is not going to address this problem, and they'll never will. You got me? Oh, Jose, you're anti-Catholic. Bill Donahue, that fat ass, that foaming at the mouth. I mean, he is such a douchebag. Come out and say, wait a minute, we're the victims here. When the Catholic Church was being sued, this guy came out and said, oh, this is anti-Catholic. It's just the fact that people hate Catholics. No, you moron. People hate pedophiles. And Brian Fisher, who came out today and said that we should discriminate against gays just like we discriminate against pedophiles. All right, fine. I guess that means we have to discriminate against priests, against bishops, against popes, against these cardinals, because they are not only pedophiles, but pedophile enablers who protect and harbor pedophiles. Isn't that the same? If you harbor a murderer, you are helping to basically perpetrate that murder or that crime. You are part of the conspiracy. I mean, that's what it is. Like I said earlier, if this was Glesson, the Trevor Project, or a gay-straight alliance, and you had pedophiles raping gay boys, this would have been, Liberty Council, Family Research Council, American Family Association, Americans for Truth, all these Vatican, these Vatican proxies, they're all going to come out and attack the gay community. But when there are real lawsuits with real victims, with real pedophiles there doing those evil deeds, and we as a society, not just the gay community that comes out and says, hey, you guys are disgusting, and rightfully so, but when the society says, and that is wrong, the church comes out and says that we're being persecuted, they're Nazis, and gay people are the ones that are the real threats because we are their scapegoat. We are the scapegoat. And that was Ratzinger's MO. Blame the gays. Oh, you want to talk about pedophilia? Well, the real perversion is not priests raping kids. The real perversity in life is two men loving each other. That is perverse. Oh, but we can have wars. We can nuke each other. We can kill people. We can do all this. But don't dare kiss another man. Don't dare show your love. That's the Catholic Church. So the reason why this Pope is leaving is because there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And that's what I think is that's what I imagine. There's a lot going on. And I think that the Pope wants to just be behind the scenes trying to fix all of this mess. He's trying to cover his own tracks. And the next Pope that's going to be nominated or selected or elected, even though it's the most undemocratic system in the world, is the election of the Pope. Because nobody knows how the vote went, or nobody. It's a secret. Who knows what's going on within those, behind those closed doors when the cardinals are all there sitting down selecting the new Pope. I don't know what they're doing. They probably are having a gang rape with all these kids. And the one that rapes the most kids gets to be the next Pope. I don't know, because they close the doors. If you were a open church with a lot of truth and openness, you wouldn't have these problems. But it's not me. People are going to go after me and they're going to say, Jose, you are wrong for saying this. You are anti-Catholic. No, I'm not anti-Catholic. I'm anti-Pope Ratzinger. I'm anti-molestation. I'm anti-abuse. And these people that criticize me for being anti-Catholic, oh my God. These are the same people that say, we're not anti-gay, we're just we just hate homosexuality, But what if I say the same thing? What if I say I don't hate Catholics, I just hate Catholicism, right? I just hate the Vatican. That's all stupid and wrong, but I love Catholics. I mean, that sounds stupid, right? But what I'm saying is I hate Pope Ratzinger and because of his involvement in the pedophile ring, for his actions. I'm not talking about, because he's German, because he has a weird name, because he's a Catholic, because he wears funny hats. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the Pope hid pedophiles, and that's why I'm attacking the head of that church and the people under him who also protect the pedophiles themselves, and the people who are complacent, the people who are attacking us for telling the truth. That is what pisses me off. And that's why the Pope is leaving, because he's not going to go anywhere. He's going to stay in Rome. He's going to stay in the Vatican. He's going to be there controlling the scene behind closed doors. He's not in the public eye anymore. So what they're going to do is they're going to appoint somebody probably that's more rabidly anti-gay, rabidly obsessed with the uterus and obsessed with zygotes and sperm and ovums and all that, because these people worship reproduction, they worship fetuses, and this goes back to ancient religious sects that did that they worship the penis and the vagina, and they worship semen and intercourse. You know what? That was ancient pornography, but today we have just pornography without the praying and all that, unless if you're on your knees and you're giving a blowjob. But that's my 2 cents, and I just want to say that these gay Catholics, they're going out there and they're trying to get the Pope to, are we going to have a better Pope? Are we going to get it? No, we're not. Okay. And I hate saying we because I'm not a Catholic. But since the Pope is the King of Kings, he is the head honcho, he owns all the souls on the planet. I take interest because this person can be very destructive. He has a lot of power. And so the next person that's going to be the Pope, and Pope Ratzinger will be, I don't know, the Black Pope, I guess, the end-type Pope. I don't know. There were some rumors about that. And so you're going to have a more reactionary, a more aggressive, a more vocal, a more vicious, vile Pope, and that will be the final nail on the final death knell for the Vatican. I mean, that's what it is. And it's going to be all for show. It's all distraction to get you off the rails here, to make sure that people don't focus on the pedophile problem and not say what I'm saying, which is that the Vatican is a pedophile ring. It's a pedophile mafia. That's what it is. And they're going to distract you with gay marriage, fetuses, and all this other crap. Okay? And the next Pope is going to be doing that. So for all of you gay Catholics, I know there's a lot of gay Catholic organizations. I know a lot of gay Catholics myself. My ex is a Catholic, and I don't care about the what you believe in. I don't really care. What I care about is the abuse, and what I care about is all these things that are going on. Has nothing to do with religion. Nothing to do with religion. Although I can comment on that, but why waste my breath? Anyway.